Hi, good morning. Happy Monday. Dr. Crystal here with your Monday motivational moment. Okay, so let me ask. We're about 9 days into this new year. How are you doing? How are all those plans that you put in place effective January 1st, right? Are you guys still feeling motivated to get out there and get it done? I know for me, it's sometimes up, sometimes down, right? But the thing is, it's okay. The important thing is that we have plans in place, right? That's the important thing. And that we're making forward progress every day. 1 inch in the right direction is forward progress. So don't beat yourselves up if you haven't hit that huge mark that you set for yourself, because remember, we are 9 days in, not 309 days. We are 9 days into this new year. So it's forward progress, one step at a time. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Just chat a little bit about vision and about emerging and becoming that person that God truly designed us to be. So when you think about vision, right? Vision is the ability to close our eyes and to imagine a future that doesn't even exist yet. It's the ability to see beyond what is in front of us and to move towards something beyond our current self. So I want you guys to humor me for a moment. Take a minute, sit back, close your eyes. Come on, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Okay, how did that feel? What did you see? And I encourage you guys to spend time daily doing that, just pausing and really asking yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? What am I seeing? What is the vision that God is placing in me right now in this moment? So I want to talk, like I said, a little bit about vision. And, 2020, when we think about 2020 prior to pandemic, right, we would always think about having clear vision. And that's the hope, right? Whenever we go and get an eye exam done, we're hoping for 2020 vision. And I can remember years ago, our son is an adult now, but I can remember when he was in elementary school, he wanted glasses so bad. I needed glasses. His dad needed glasses. His sister needed glasses. And we were in LensCrafters and he sat down to have his eye exam done. And it came back that he had 2020 vision. He was so discouraged. He did not like the idea that he did not need glasses. But fast forward, that didn't last long, because a few years later, I remember receiving a call at work from one of his teachers, saying, hey, Adrian's having problems with seeing the board. It's affecting his schoolwork. I think it's his eyes. And I'm like, I don't think so. His eye exam showed he had 20/20 vision. Now, mind you, okay, you can tap my hand and say, bad mom. He got that 20/20 vision result. And the next couple of years, I did not have him do an eye exam. So I learned from that. But at any rate, fast forward, that 20/20 vision that he had actually ended up being a diagnosis of nearsightedness. So it shifted from being perfect vision to nearsightedness. And doesn't that sound familiar, right? Doesn't it seem like that's what's happened over the past few years? I know for me, pre-pandemic, right? Pre-pandemic 2020, it started out with clear vision. I had so much going on. I was in the middle of planning 2 conferences. I had travel plans in place to attend 2 more conferences. I had countless football games for the fall that was already on my calendar. I had meetups with family and friends, and it was like my whole year was booked. But just like my son's vision, suddenly, all of a sudden, all of those plans became blurry, right? Right towards the end of January, February of 2020. So instead of 2020 and the years that followed, right, 2020, 2021, part of 2022, instead of those being years of conferences and travel and connection, the past few years prior, leading up to mid 2022, that's when I personally got comfortable with getting back out there. But those years became more about fear and about anxiety. They became about unrest and uncertainty. uncertain about what's next. But what about you? How did you spend 2020 and those next couple of years, right? How did you spend your 2020, 21, 22? Were you paralyzed with fear? Were you scared and fearful of going to the grocery store and meeting up with friends? Were you afraid to make plans, wondering that, if you made your plans, would the world just suddenly shut down again? That was my concern. I was just hesitant. I was like, why bother putting these plans in place? And you never know when the next shutdown may come. Or did you spend your time glued to the media, right? Either social media or TV or the newspapers, even if, some of you still read those, right? But glued to the media, just constantly trying to find out what's going on around you. Or did you find yourself getting pulled into divisive conversations about everything that was going on? Conversations that led to dead ends, and oftentimes conversations that may have led to lost friendships. Even if you found yourself right in one or more of those situations, that's okay too. That is okay, because the beauty about today is that we get to start new. The beauty about today, the beauty about every single day when we're gifted with the gift of being able to open our eyes again, is that we get to wipe the slate clean and we get to start all over again. In Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 through 23, it tells us, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. And steadfast, that means to be firmly fixed. It's not subject to change. It's immovable. It is steadfast and it will be there. That's God's love. That's his love for me. That's his love for you. That's his love for all of us, right? It's never changing. He loves us. And as the saying goes, there's nothing we can do about it. That passage in Lamentation says his mercies, his compassions, right? His forgiveness towards us, they never come to an end. It says they are new every morning. And I don't know about you, but the fact that God's mercies, his compassion for me are new every morning, that gives me hope. Did you catch that? It gives me hope. It does not give me a license to do wrong, but it gives me hope. Hope in the fact that as an imperfect person, because of God's mercies, I have the opportunity to begin again each and every day. So for you, I say, never allow yourself to get caught up in that negative self-talk that can easily take us captive and pull us down into a pit of self-imposed misery. Recently I read a quote that kind of went something like, if you didn't come out of the pandemic with a new product, a new book, etc., then it was never in you to begin with, right? I don't actually agree with that. I don't at all, because in addition to those who came out of the pandemic with new ideas and great inventions and new products, right? Also, along with the pandemic came a lot of emotional and spiritual challenges, things like depression, anxiety, abuse, right? Alcohol, drug, emotional and physical abuse, feelings of worthlessness, and so on. So I don't belittle the things that people may have experienced during that time of isolation. I do, however, believe that for some of us, the last few years were a time of reflection, right? It was a time for us to sit back and really evaluate where we are, where we want to be, and what do we need to do to change it. God is so amazing. And God, in his infinite wisdom, he removed the biggest excuse that we all use. And that's that excuse of, I don't have time. For a lot of us, he removed that daily commute to the office. Even now, many of us still have the luxury of working from home instead of going into an office every day. He removed the calendar that was, for me, right, filled with lunches and shopping and meetings. He removed the vacations that, if we have to be honest, often led to us needing a vacation after the vacation, because instead of taking time to relax when we would go on vacation, we typically piled it up with different things, wherever we may have traveled to. He removed it all. And what he did was he gave us the opportunity to spend more time with him, to spend more time in deeper Bible study, to spend more time in prayer, to spend more time with inner reflections. And I believe personally that at some point, whether through prayer, through personal fortitude, through family and friends, through professional help, right? I believe there comes a time when we have to emerge. We have to come out of whatever may be holding us back. It could be still lingering fears of the last 3 years. It could be things that people have told us. It can be self-imposed insecurities, but there comes a time when we have to emerge. And now is that time, right? We are just shy, 2 weeks into this new year, and we have the promise from God that his mercies are new every day. So that means today, right? Now is the time for me, for you, for all of us to emerge. And I know you guys may be saying, well, okay, all right, I hear you, but there's still the same old going on. And to that I say, you're right, there is, and there always will be. There will always be some of the same old. We have to make that shift in our own thinking. We, right, were called higher. And Romans 12, chapter 2, encourages us. It says to not conform to the world. It says, instead, be transformed by the renewing of your minds. And then Colossians chapter 3, verse 2 instructs us, right, to set our minds on things above and on the things that are not of this earth. So yeah, I say now's the time to emerge new, right? And how do we do that? How do we emerge? We take small steps. We start small. We don't try to tackle the whole thing all at one time. So there are just 3 tips that I want to leave you guys with this morning, just 3, on how to begin to emerge. So the first thing is identify your one thing. Identify that one little pet thing that seems to always prevent you from moving forward. The thing that prevents you from moving forward with the goals that you set out to accomplish. Whether it's social media, whether it's TV, whether it's a lack of willpower, a lack of belief in yourself, the list can go on and on and on. But identify it and take it to God. So that's the first thing. Identify the one thing that's holding you back. The second thing, spend time with God. If you don't already have a designated time that you spend with God, set one. If you have one, that is great. How often do you keep that appointment that you have with God? How often are you daily spending time with him? Right? If it were, right, a work appointment, you would keep it. If it were a doctor's appointment, you would keep it. It's your special time with God. Carve out that time, protect it, fight for it. Don't let it slip away, right? It's your time with him. Treat it as though you were going to meet with that special someone, put forth that effort in keeping that appointment, even preparing for it in advance and showing up early for it. So first, identify the one thing. Second, spend time with God. And when you're spending time with him, make sure that you are fighting for that time. You're protecting it. And the third thing, don't go it alone. Find someone who will challenge you, someone who will hold you accountable to being the best you possible. That can be finding someone that you can pray with often, finding someone that can be an accountability partner, finding a friend that you can go to when you're feeling stuck. It can even be employing the services of a professional coach. Just don't try to do it on your own. Why? Well, how has doing it on your own worked out for you so far? Find someone. So guys, as we embark on this second week of 2023, make the decision now to make the historical changes within yourself so that as we move forward into this new year, you can fully emerge as the person that God designed you to be. So this has been Dr. Crystal with your Monday Motivational Moment. Have an amazing, amazing week, guys.